right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome back to Ball Radio. I know we were not here last week. Sorry about that. Had some personal stuff I had to handle, but we're live from College Park. We are 1 week into the NBA season at this point. Or no, I think we're 2 weeks in, basically. But we are in the swing of things. People are playing. People are already getting hurt. People are already load managing. Everything's back into full effect. College basketball started today that I'm kind of missing out on right now, but we're going to get back to that. Stay tuned, though. There may be an extension of this radio show that will be specifically on college basketball. As of right now, I'm looking at Thursday for having those episodes specifically where I can bring on some St. John's fans, Kentucky fans. I can bring on some people who want to talk some college basketball only, and we will keep this day specifically for the NBA. But today, we've got a lot to talk about. We have another guest joining us today who is a fan of a certain team who's got a rookie who's been taking the league by storm. We're also going to talk the greatest NBA teams of the modern era from 2015 on. And then we're going to talk about some week one. I don't know. Is this week 1, week 2? I don't know. Overreactions. What do we think is fluky? What do we think is not? So that's the slate for today. For people who are just tuning in, I'll say one more time. People who are just listening, the greatest NBA teams of the modern era, the arrival of a young rookie, and some week 1 overreactions. So without further ado, and then again, stay tuned on Thursday. It might not start this Thursday, but we're going to be settling on a day to launch our college basketball version of this radio show, so that we'll have a little bit of both for people who want to listen to me yap about the NBA all the time, or people who want to listen to a little bit of both. So with that being said, let's go ahead and call in our first guest for today.
Yo, how's it going?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's up? It's Holden.
Welcome to Zanos Ball Radio. What's your name and where you from?
I'm Holden. I'm from Cary, North Carolina, or I live in Cary, North Carolina. Originally from Philadelphia, so I'm a big 76ers fan, Eagles fan, all that.
Yes, sir. All right. So to start off the show, what's your question for me?
Who do you think the best rookie, or who do you think's going rookie of the year this year? With a guy like VJ Edgecombe coming up, playing big, but a guy like Cooper Flag being the overwhelming favorite to have the best career per se.
Yeah. Obviously, as of right now, VJ is the overwhelming favorite. Again, we will eventually talk about this, so I'll keep my answer pretty limited. But I think VJ has come in with a lot of the NBA ready skill set things, in terms of just his intangibles, obviously his defense, that are going to translate right away. And I didn't expect to see the offense and the creativity offensively happen so quickly. As of now, Dylan just got hurt, so with Fox there, I don't love it. It's gonna have to be between Cooper and VJ. I just think the opportunity for Cooper with AD just not being available and Kyrie, he's going to have so much opportunity, even if the efficiency and the numbers aren't great. He's going to have the opportunity to go win it, and the narrative's set in stone for him to go do so. But, again, you bring up VJ Edgecombe. We will touch on him later in the show because I can't give the guests what they want right away. So you're going to have to wait to talk about VJ Holden. But what we are going to start talking about here is when I'm looking through social media, a lot of times I'm looking at former players talk about what makes a really great team. And when they look back on that team, what about them made them so great? And a lot of things, obviously, that we are not able to see up there in person and tell what's going on in practice or whatever. We can only see what's on the court. So that kind of made me think of, and this is winner or loser. The team doesn't have to win the championship. Obviously, the best teams mostly in the modern era, and I'm considering the modern era 2015 and on. So let's start from Steph's first ring with Golden State in 2015 when they beat the Cavs. From there on, what are some of the greatest NBA teams in modern NBA history. And I will give the floor to you. But I would just ask, what are some things besides them winning the championship that you value when you're looking at, okay, is this one of the greatest teams of all time?
Outside of winning the championship, I mean, just peak performance on the offense and defense end, and not just in terms of team as a whole, but like the best offenses we've ever seen, the best defense we've ever seen. Those types of teams that really leave an impression on you. That maybe didn't win ring because of they ran into a team like the Warriors, or maybe they got injured. Teams like the Rockets with Harden and CP3. They looked like one of the best offenses, or at least best run offenses I've ever seen. Teams like the Nets, there was a couple weeks where they looked like some of the best offense you've ever seen, but they obviously didn't ever come close to winning like the Rockets did. But yeah, I just think in terms of what makes it great outside of winning, it's got to be just, offensive and defense, like dominance. Like in terms of Harden and Embiid, the pick and roll, MVP, assist leader, something like that, dominance. Like when I think of best teams that never won a championship, like I'm going to think of the Harden and Embiid Sixers that, almost beat that Celtics in Game 7.
So respectfully, I don't think when we engage in this conversation that any iteration of the Philadelphia 76ers we're going to be a mention in that. I appreciate your input, Holden. Teams that have well even in that case, I mean, I would. There's some teams that, like, I'm going to put some of those Rockets teams. There's some teams I'm going to put over the Philadelphia 76ers before I think of them, but we will get to the Sixers. But I want to do this before we decide what some of our best teams of all time are. Because obviously, in this case, and I'm just going to ask you straight away, from 2015 to now, are we in agreement that the 2017 Golden State Warriors are ranked number one?
Yes,
okay, good.
I think that's how.
Okay, yes. So I just want to get the obvious one out the way so that we can not have some pointless discourse here. So what? These are some teams, and this is not in order, but these are some teams that I wrote down that I think meet the criteria for this list. And once I'm done, let me know if there are some teams that I'm missing. So I've got the 2015-16 Cavs on here, obviously. I have the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors on here. Yeah. I have the 2015-16 Oklahoma City Thunder on here. I have the 2024 Boston Celtics on here. I have this is probably one of my only non-champions on here, but I have, besides OKC, but I have the 2017-18 Houston Rockets. I've got the 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder. I've got the 2023 Denver Nuggets. I've got the 2016-17 San Antonio Spurs. And, unwillingly, I'm going to throw in the bubble ring Lakers on there. I have to do it. I think they were a great team in the regular season, as much as I don't want to give them credit for. Now people are going to be like, well, there's a lot of other champions. What about the Bucks and who else? The Raptors. I don't think just because you win the title that year that you were necessarily the best team, or that there's not teams better than you. And that's just the reality of it. So I listed those teams off. Is there any teams that you were thinking of that I maybe have not named?
Did you not mention the 24 Celtics?
Yeah, I did. Wait, did I not? Wait.
No,
yeah, I did. No, yeah. I mentioned them after OKC.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I think the Celtics and Thunder are really the prototype for the modern NBA and where kind of team building is going. I think those championship teams are really going to be ones that teams try and mold after. But no, I think if I had to think of two teams you didn't mention, I would think of the Chris Paul and Devin Booker Suns that lost to the Bucks, and that Bucks team.
Okay.
I think that was one of my favorite finals to watch. And yeah, I love the way that Chris Paul and Devin Booker played together. And looking back in hindsight, like, it doesn't look like an overwhelming duo in terms of star power, but for some reason, like when it came to the playoffs in the West, they were clearing teams out.
I agree. I think that Suns team had a level of chemistry up until Luka literally ripped their hearts out. That like they had this level of chemistry where like everything kind of fit. Book and CP fit. I don't know. I don't think that they had. I don't know. Like maybe it's considering like the second option there. Like I just think some of these other teams maybe have a little bit above them. So what I'm gonna do here is this is how we're gonna kind of single some of these out. So as of now, can you give me your like two favorites here that you're considering putting at the top?
Of all those teams you mentioned?
Yep. Do you want me to name them again?
Give me the 24 Celtics.
Okay.
24 Celtics are definitely just because I think they're like the prototype for modern, what the 3-point is doing in the NBA. And then list some of those teams. Because we're not talking about the 2017 Warriors, right?
So that's what. So I was gonna say, for the sake of this, we're gonna include all the non-KD Warriors teams. All the KD Warriors teams, like it's just kind of pointless. So we'll just do 2014-15 and 15-16 you can use, and everything else you can't use. And then all the other teams. So I'll just name them again. I'll just name them again one more time. The 2014-15 Warriors, 15-16 Warriors, the 15-16 Cavs, the 16-17 Cavs, the 15-16 Oklahoma City Thunder, 2024 Celtics, 2017-18 Rockets, 2025 Thunder, 2016-2017 Spurs, and 2023 Nuggets.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going 24 Celtics, and I think that second team is going to have to be the 15-16 Warriors, even though they didn't win the ring. Just because of the 73 rings, MVP, unanimous MVP Curry, I think, even though they didn't do it, even though LeBron did what he did, even though, that's why LeBron's the GOAT, or at least that's why I call LeBron the GOAT. But no, I think, I would have to do 15-16 Warriors and then the 24 Celtics.
Okay, so we'll start with the 2024 Celtics. So what I want to do is I'm gonna put these teams up against each other in some of them, and we're kind of just gonna break down. I mean, obviously it's not this linear when we just go starting lineup or bench coach.
Obviously rotations.
Yeah.
I'm down.
So no, yeah, we can do a few to just see how some of these teams match up. So we can start with the 2024 Celtics. Actually, let's put them up against the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors. So for context, obviously the 2015-16 Warriors were the start of this new 3-point shooting era. The Celtics are literally the epitome of it. They have honestly maximized it the most. So let's go one by one. So Steph and Drew Holiday. I mean, I don't think there's much.
Obviously Steph gets the leg up there, but Drew Holiday is a pretty good defender to have on Steph. It's
very true. Very true.
Not that there's a good defender to have on Steph, but if you could pick, Drew Holiday's going to be on one of the top 10 guys probably in his prime.
Okay. Yeah, we can move on. Klay Thompson in 2015-16 and 2024 Derek White.
It's Klay.
It's Klay. I think so.
Because Klay was a dog on defense too at the time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if this was the 2022 Warriors, I'm probably taking Derek White. But but we can move on. All right. So this team had Harrison Barnes versus Jaylen Brown.
I think we're going JB.
We're going JB pretty easily there. 2015. So this is 2016 Draymond. This one Draymond still had some offense, but he's going against Jason Tatum. We're gonna.
Well, obviously going JT there, but again, like if you could pick out of a handful of guys to defend someone like Jason Tatum, Draymond Green is going to be one of the top 2 or 3 guys you pick. So.
Okay. So at center they had the Celtics had Porzingis obviously, but for the Warriors, okay, they started Bogut, but at the same time, it was Iggy was the 5th guy on the roster. But I'm not gonna cheat, so we're just gonna go. I mean, Andrew Bogut and Kristaps Porzingis / Al Horford. I mean,
yeah. I mean, throw 6-man in there if you want, like Iggy and Bogut, and then you can go Al and KP.
That's true. I mean, I was just gonna include Andre with the bench because I mean I think he's a crew like I mean like I was just gonna go bench overall and compare benches, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay, I
yeah.
believe.
So I mean I guess we'll just go Bogut.
But yeah, obviously, if it's KP versus Bogut, like you probably go KP.
Okay, okay.
Just a still
And
long
then
shot.
yeah, I mean at that point comparing benches, I mean I Boston's bench, what Pritchard came off the bench, Horford came off the bench. Was there anyone else really I'm missing? Sam Hauser. Um,
Um, I was gonna say Pritchard, but yeah, no,
that's
that was like those are the main guys getting minutes in the actual playoffs. You know,
yeah,
once
and
the lineups were slimmed down to like 8 guys.
yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I was gonna say it got cut, and I mean I'd probably say at that point the 15-16 Warriors, and just in terms of I mean they literally had a mantra of strength in numbers because they're bench with Iguodala and um, Mo Spates and Barbosa and Livingston. I'm gonna give them the bench, and then again, coaching is just very subjective. Like I just never know how to really determine, besides some of the top guys, like what makes one coach better than the other. I think it's just all what you value.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you value rotations and critical moments, I don't know if you're gonna love Steve Kerr. But if you value X's and O's and how smoothly an offense is run and their offensive scheme, then you might view Steve Kerr pretty highly. I don't know how to view Kerr and Missoula. I'd probably lean Steve Kerr. I don't know.
I mean, they're both great coaches, and yeah, like you said, in terms of rotations, I'd probably go Joe. In terms of actual play calling, maybe Steve. In terms of players coach, I mean, I think it's kind of a toss up there. Kind of all depends on the locker room.
Okay. So what's your choice?
I think if these lineups played each other, I think the Celtics would win.
Okay.
And let me say this: I think the Warriors are a better team in terms of what they did for the era they were in. Meaning they revolutionized the game and they were so far ahead, at least like in the regular season, offensively, they were so far ahead and more efficient and better than everyone else that the game had never seen it. And it was to the point where the league started molding itself around that. And that's why you have teams like the Celtics today. But the reason I think the Celtics would win if those teams actually played each other is because I think the Celtics are just the honed in and refined version of what the Warriors started. The idea of the Warriors started, the play type of the Warriors started in terms of shooting 50 threes a game, you know?
That's fair. That's fair. So the Celtics played. Who did they play in the finals? The Mavs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Not an overwhelmingly hard team.
no, it's not. But the reason I bring that up is I think the Warriors, in terms of the Celtics 5-out style of offense, I think the one team that would be able to switch everything and have Andre Iguodala and Klay Thompson and Sean Livingston and Draymond Green and be able to switch everything and be able to force Boston to be like, okay, you're not getting 63s off. Go ahead and take all these twos, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and take these tough mid-ranges. I think the Warriors would be able to do that better than most teams on this list. I'll be honest, just because of the versatility they have defensively. I do agree that at this point in time, without Kevin Durant, I think offensively, I think there were times where when Steph didn't really have it going, besides the natural flow of the Warriors offense, there wasn't really much, okay, I'm going to go get you a bucket with 6 seconds left or whatever, and it's left in the shot clock, where the Celtics have 2 of those guys. So I would give them the advantage there. I think the Warriors would be able to neutralize the Celtics to where they would have some games where they would go 7 of 30 from 3. And I think the Warriors would be able to win those games. But again, we could debate that at another time. Before we move on,
to your point, especially if it were a 7-game series too, I think you could see a similar situation to the 2002 or 22 Celtics series where maybe the Celtics win the first game, maybe even the first 2, and then the Warriors start adjusting. But I think there's a lot more merit to your point for a 7-game series for sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna throw this last question at you, and we don't you don't have to have much context, so you can just give me an answer. So I know we said the 2017 Warriors are the undisputed number 1 team here. Now I'm not asking you what you think the best team of the modern era is. My question now is, what team do you think has the best chance of dethroning that 16-17 Warriors team in a 7-game series? I know I'm putting you on the spot. what team do you think matches up well the best with them? I can start if you don't have something.
So I was gonna suggest the Nuggets, but Draymond really played Jokic well in those playoff series every time they've played each other. So I mean, I would have to maybe it seemed like the 2020 Lakers, honestly.
I like that answer.
Because I think they have enough defense. They had a lot of scrappy guys like KCP, Caruso that could play defense, that could still shoot the ball to enough extent to where they're not unplayable like someone like Vando now. And they still had the superstar ability in AD and Bron. And you had the defensive guys that could defend a guy like KD. You had Bron or AD, both guys that you could put on KD. Yeah, I think if I had to pick a team, I might be going with the 2020 Lakers.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll be honest, because that Lakers team had the perimeter defenders with. I mean, Danny Green was older, but he was still a solid perimeter defender, and then they had KCP there, and then they had the interior defenders with McGee and Dwight, to where when the Warriors want to go small, which they will, they're gonna get punished on the glass because of it, and then the Lakers can match the Warriors. Them going small and just put 80 at the 5. And then again, that was the 80 that actually hit 3-pointers. So, yeah, no, that'd be a very interesting matchup. That honestly might be my answer too. I mean, I was probably just gonna be boring and pick the Rockets, but
I was gonna say you had a team in mind, and yeah, it's the Rockets because they're the team that actually almost did it before Chris Paul got hurt.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they just provided a matchup nightmare. But we're gonna move on.
Well, they actually showed us that they could do it. You know, they're the one team that showed us we actually, if we were healthy, we might have been able to do it. And then of course CP's hamstring went.
Yeah, unfortunately it did. All right, so we're gonna move on to this.
Speaking of bittersweet moment for you, huh?
Yeah, no, it is. It is, Chris. Like it was like that's why I wanted it to be with the Suns, because I'm like, okay, it does not come at the expense of the Warriors. But yes, it was very hard to watch Chris Paul hit step back threes and shimmy in Steph's face. It was very hard to watch that. It wasn't hard to hate watch on Harden folding in the playoffs though. But anyways, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the first week of the NBA season, and obviously every start of the season, obviously in the NFL it's a little bit easier to do because there's not that many weeks in the season. But with the NBA, there's obviously some teams where you're like, well, like they're 5-0, they're 4-0, and it's like that's obviously fake. Like it's not real. So I guess. And I mean, I guess when I labeled this overreaction, I was kind of leaning on, okay, let's give a take that's obviously a blatant overreaction. But I actually want to start with something a little bit different. I want to start, so I'm gonna list you the top seeds in the West in order as of right now, East and West, and I just want you to point out the most obvious polar bear in Arlington, Texas. And what I mean by that is, for people who are no, not you, but for people who are listening, one that does not stand out, one that is not like the rest. What team here will not be here in a few weeks, few months, whenever. So in the West right now, the Thunder are 7-0, Spurs are 5-1, Lakers are 5-2, Blazers 4-2. Clippers 3-2, Nuggets 3-2, so on and so forth. So in order, it's Thunder, Spurs, Lakers, Blazers, Clippers, Nuggets, Rockets, and Warriors. And then on the East, the Sixers are the 1 seed right now, tied with the Chicago Bulls. The Bucks, then followed by the Pistons, the Cavs, the Heat, the Knicks, and the Raptors. So what are you seeing there?
Bulls and the Blazers are obviously the two polar bears.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Sixers are arguably a polar bear too. But we've at least seen guys on the Sixers team, succeed well and win a lot of games in the regular season. That's not something you can say for anybody on the Bulls, really, or the Blazers.
Fair. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bulls here. Obviously, I don't even think they want to be this good. I'll be
Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse, little giddy MVP week.
Yeah, I mean, Like I think, I mean, like I don't even think they want to be this good. It's just not it's not what they were expecting. But I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting Boston to come out this slow. I'll be real. Again, I mean, like you could potentially say Indiana too, but I think Indiana would have been fine if they didn't, if Nemhard and Matherin weren't injured. Like I still think they would, like when they get healthy, I still think they'll be in the mix. But I'm kind of disappointed with how Boston just hasn't really like looked. I mean, they looked fine, but like I thought they would have been in this mix. What do you think?
I'm yeah, they'd make moves. It's starting to look like they're kind of playing for a draft pick, but I mean that's kind of out of. It's not really what Boston does. They're more of a retooling and a regearing team than someone that tanks per se. But no, I certainly thought that they would be around the top of the East. I certainly thought they'd have better record than teams like the Heat, teams like the Raptors, teams like the Hawks.
That's fair. Yeah, it's fair. Hopefully Boston gets back. Or I mean, this is sometimes what happens. I mean,
No. We don't hope that.
yeah, I was about to say. Actually, I didn't mean to say that. I actually meant this is what.
The East Open.
Yeah, I was about to say. Actually, this is what happens when a guy who can't dribble with his left hand is leading your franchise. But anyways, we're gonna move on.
Kind of come out slow too.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, shout out Peyton Pritchard. I actually like Peyton Pritchard. He's probably like the guy I like the most on the Celtics. Let's move on to this. So let's move on to the team that's first in the Eastern Conference, and I know this is something that you've been waiting to talk about, and we are a little over time, but who cares? The Philadelphia 76ers, the rookie VJ Edgecombe. So what I'm not gonna do, Holden, is I'm not gonna ridicule you for not wanting VJ. I know I've told you about that, but again, I know. No. Wait. Just let me finish, and then I'll let you go. Just let me finish. I said that I'm not gonna ridicule you for saying that you did not want VJ and saying that you wanted Con Knipple because I know that you don't really follow college basketball, so I cannot clown you for that. If that was someone else who watched it, maybe I could do that. However, I remember saying that VJ was the most NBA ready guy, but I thought that was going to be like, okay, he can be a nice 12 to 13 point guy, but he's going to be known for defense, and he's really going to be a guy that's like sitting in the corner or whatever. But this hasn't been that. Like it's been the offense. It's been the defense is obviously still there, which you guys desperately need with your guards and everything. So just take it away. What have you been most impressed by? I'll ask you that with VJ.
So, I mean, the thing that stands out most is the offensive creation and the shooting is absurd. I mean, so everyone knew he was going to be athletic. Everyone knew he was going to bring a lot of intensity on defense. I don't think anyone thought he was going to be handling the ball the way he has. I don't think anyone thought he was going to be shooting the way he has. And I don't think anyone thought he was going to be passing the way he has. And the great thing about it is the only thing that I don't think is sustainable of those three is maybe the shooting. I think the shooting numbers might dip. But even if those shooting numbers dip, he's still, what we have right here is a very effective and efficient player. A guy that can get to any mid-range or shot at the rim he wants because of his athletic ability. A guy that's going to be able to finish at a very high rate because of that athletic ability. And the ball handling that he's displayed is not like, that doesn't fade, like shooting numbers might dip. That's not going to go away. He can obviously dribble the ball very well, which is a really big, because you can play him at the one. Like if in certain rotations, you can play him at the one. He doesn't have to just be a two. You can play bigger lineups, play him at the one. But yeah, I just think his offensive, like no one thought he's literally played like a star, which is crazy. He's averaging 22 points a game. Like he's playing like a all-star, like a perennial all-star, borderline all-star. Mm-hmm. And I think that's shocking everybody because I don't think anyone thought that. I think everyone thought that if there was going to be any rookie that came in and put up all-star numbers, which is not something that really happens in the NBA in your first year, it would be a guy like Cooper Flag. So for VJ to come out and do this on a team that's crowded at the position he's at, I think it's pretty shocking.
Yeah. So you mentioned being crowded at the position. That was the next thing I was going to get to. Because last year around this time, you were doing some of the same jumping jacks and parade type of energy with Jared McCain. Jared McCain's still here. Jared McCain's still here.
He's probable tomorrow. He's playing
Well, I know, but let me get into what I was gonna get to. So with Jared now, Jared's probably like, well, hey, I mean, I'm a top 10 pick. I'm somebody who Sixers fans said that me and Maxey were the future just last year. So let's not forget about me. However, we understand that VJ covers some of the defensive liability is kind of type of, or not liability. Like Jared's not a liability, but VJ offers some of the defense next to Maxey that Jared really doesn't offer. Well, Jared offers the shooting that VJ, I mean, we thought didn't offer, but I mean, VJ's looking like a pretty good shooter, so maybe not. How do you think that they are going to intertwine? Who do you think should be the two that are starting? And again, how do you think Jared fits into this?
I mean, I think if Jared ends up looking like he did in that, that 6-game stretch where he was like the guy last year, where Maxey and Embiid were hurt, Paul George was hurt, and he was literally winning games as the guy, I would lean towards that. But obviously, that's like VJ shooting feels unsustainable. So it feels smart to have VJ the guy, especially with McCain coming off an injury. So I think VJ definitely keeps his starting spot. I think the guy you'll see lose his minutes more because of this is going to be Quentin Grimes, just because Quentin Grimes is cool. Quentin Grimes and McCain were doing a lot of the same things in terms of getting his points in the perimeter. But I just think Jared McCain is a lot better with the ball in his hands. He can create a lot more than I think Quentin Grimes can. And that's a guy that has a lot of potential to be a star in the league in the future. And that's a guy that you have to allow, to exercise that potential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, Quentin Grimes, I'll say this in the nicest way possible. That little Jeremy Lin month you had in the month of April where you were scoring 30 every game, we didn't believe it. You're a good player. You're a good role player, and you're solid. If you were on a bad team, you could probably average 17, 18 a game, but we know what you are. So this is the last thing I want to touch on with the Sixers before we close out. And this has something to do with VJ Edgecombe, but it has something to do more with the team and the 7-foot extended medical bill that is Joel Embiid. So remember when I mentioned to you, Holden, I don't know if this was a few months ago or when it was, but I said that if one of these guards hit, would you entertain the idea of moving Embiid to get potential other wing pieces and, I don't know, a center who can just do his job and free up some money so that you can build around either Maxey and McCain / VJ? Now, when I mentioned this to you the first time, I'm pretty sure you said no, but you offered some reason why. Now, we're a few months ahead now. Now they've got 2 guards potentially next to Maxey who can hit. Has your stance on Joel Embiid being traded changed at all?
Well, as a fan, no. Because as a fan, Joel Embiid is... I'll never want to see Joel Embiid play for another team. As a GM, yes, I would explore that. As the Sixers fan I am, no, I can't ever root for Joel Embiid to be on a different team.
Forget the fan, Holden. As someone who as someone who wants them to win a championship, Holden, in the next few years. I understand that. We all got our favorites, okay? We all got people who we're emotionally attached to, right? Like, we're talking about winning a championship. Would you rather, I mean...
Like it's real, but in a real sense, we're not really going to get anything for Embiid.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like
that's fair. We might have wore the tires out too damn much. You're right.
Over the edge for a 30-year-old that doesn't have a knee. What are we? Because if you're talking about winning a championship, it's not picks, then, is it? Like if we get 1 or 2 first-round picks, all right, fine, we got to hit it.
We don't think a team would bite on Embiid. Like who would?
Who would bite on Embiid? Like in terms of to win a championship? No.
I don't know. I didn't prepare to really think about that. But
the price, that's the thing, is that the price that any team would be willing to pay is far too low for me to ever want him gone.
Okay.
At this stage in his career, I mean, like in hindsight, 2 years ago, sure, like knowing what I know, but no, at this stage in his career, the package simply wouldn't be big enough for me to want that. If we could get, a big trade package like that, the lucrative stuff you see, sure, but that's not reality.
It's not. It's not reality
Like
at all.
even the Knicks, bro. The Knicks aren't going to give us. They've already given away all their picks. You know, I'm not doing that. I'm not giving away Embiid for what Nico Bridges and like.
Would you
I'm good.
would you trade him to Miami?
For what? Like Bam?
No, they probably keep Bam.
Exactly. No.
Norman Powell,
Hell
Nikola Jovic, like
no.
few
No.
picks.
Respect to Jovic, she's cool, but like no. Like,
Pieces. I mean,
those aren't guys that would actually are actually helping us win a championship.
Norman would.
Norman Powell.
Norman would. He's better than Paul George. But I mean,
he's gonna help us, but he's not putting us over the edge.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, but again, like I'm not saying that an Embiid move would instantly catapult y'all into title contention. I am not saying that. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get the best out of VJ and Maxey at this point, I feel like they will be more free, quote unquote, knowing that they do not have to give Joel Embiid the ball and he has to have that touch every time he's in the game. They can play more free. And I mean, like, they're kind of already doing it knowing that Embiid's not there full time. But I'm just proposing that thought.
Not going to have that issue because he's not going to be like demanding the ball as much.
Is it? Is he not? I mean,
he's already learned. He knows how to play to a guy like Maxey. Like Maxey's gotten his 26 a game with Joel and Harden. Like Maxey's shown that he can get his without necessarily.
So is it Embiid's team or not, Holden? Is it Embiid's team still or no? You don't even know. Go ahead.
It's Joel's team. It's all he's here, bro. Joel's here. It's his team. Maxey's the franchise, as Joel says it. Joel says that himself. Maxey's the franchise, but of course it's Joel's team. That's a crazy question. He's MVP.
I mean, it didn't seem like that crazy of a question if it took you 10 seconds to answer it. But I understand. Again, my bad. This was not meant to be. But again, like if I'm gonna talk about what VJ and Maxey are doing, I have to bring up Embiid's fit here. So don't think of me just trying to single out Embiid here. But I mean, he is an important. And again, Paul George is part of the equation too. But I don't even really view him as important enough to be a part, like really a part of this equation. Huh?
Because he's getting. Paul George is a bigger problem of the equation because he's under contract for longer.
I mean, I like PG's. I mean, like, again, like, it's not the same thing with Embiid where, I mean, again, PG is going to take some touches, but, like, y'all don't really have, I don't know.
The problem with PG is not his fit. It would be that he might still be butt.
That's fair.
Like, if he comes out in his butt again, I don't care if he fits with the team. If he's giving me 15 points on horrible shooting splits, I want him gone. Like, we're not paying him $50 million to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
the next 3 years, you know, like that's. Embiid's under contract for this year and next year, so like, or maybe even just this year. He signed a 3-year extension. I think it's this year, next year. So it's we're not paying Embiid for as long as Paul. So it's like,
okay. Hey man, the East is wide open. Like I said, we can close out with that. But again, the East is, like I said, I'm not saying that there's this Joel package that's like.
Well, so and that's why the answer is still no, because Maxey and VJ and McCain's timelines aren't necessarily to win in the next 3 years unless Joel Embiid is the guy they're winning with. Like, they can't win it without Joel, unless Joel is playing at an MVP caliber level in the postseason.
Okay.
Like, I like the guys. They look cool. They look fun. But in a postseason environment, this team without Joel, even with Paul George back, even if he was playing well, is not necessarily winning. They're not winning a championship. So if they're going to win a championship, Embiid needs to be playing at an MVP level for whatever is left of his contract. And then after that contract's up, then you can kind of build a fit around those guys because those guys are actually entering their prime.
That's fair.
Because a guy like McCain is 21. Can McCain even drink alcohol yet? No. You know?
I think he might have just turned 21.
Exactly. McCain's 21. DJ Edgecombe is definitely not even 21 yet. Like, these guys are really young. So it's not like we're in any rush. Like, if Embiid were to finish his contract out, play the next 2 years in Philly, and be a horrible fit, Jared McCain's going to be 23 when that's over. Like, it's not like we're in any rush to get the exact pieces we need next to those guys right now.
That's fair. That's fair. I got no disagreements with that. I'm just very interested to see how this guard rotation plays out. Yeah, like I'm expecting Quentin Grimes to get the short end of the stick, but I am interested to kind of watch how everything's unfolded. VJ has made you guys a lot more interesting. I will say that, just in terms of watching how the on-court product looks.
I think all Sixers fans are having a good time this year because our expectations are gone. You know, I think it's a lot easier to enjoy, especially, well, one, when you're winning, but two, when you kind of you don't have all this pressure on your team to win.
Fair. All right, we'll close out with that. Yeah, VJ's a bucket. And let's hope he continues what he's doing. I was gonna ask you for a comp, but I'm like, let's just get a little longer into the season before we figure out an NBA comp. We can save that.
Is D-Wade with me?
Okay, see, this is why I didn't want to ask for the comp, because we start going to D-Wade.
Week 1 overreaction. There's a week 1 overreaction.
There it is. Dwayne Wade without the knee cartilage. That's the perfect way to end it. I don't got one. I was probably gonna say that. Actually, no. Let's end it with yours. Thank you, Holden, for joining Xanon's Ball Radio. I appreciate having you on. I will definitely have you on again as the season goes on.
As always.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you guys for listening. I know, again, we're in like 35 minutes. About what I expected. A little bit over. But thank you guys for listening. Again, make sure you guys stay tuned for my college basketball episode. Should be coming most likely this Thursday, but that will be the college basketball version of what we do here. So if you don't want to hear me talk about NBA all the time, head over there. I'll bring some people on and talk about some college basketball. So thank you guys for listening. Xanon's Ball Radio. I will see you guys next week.